Hi all, welcome back to another video. Today's topic is age. Are you too old to go to a Japanese language school in Japan? And is there an age limit? The short answer to both questions is no and no. You are not too old to go to a Japanese language school in Japan, even if you are 100 years old. I'm dead serious about that. As an American, we don't really go around asking for people's age. But in Japan, I believe it's very common to introduce yourself and tell your age because Japan is a very hierarchical society. People need to know your age so they know how to address you. If you are older, they address you with more respect and with more formality. And if you're younger, they address you a bit more informally. The funny thing was, in class, our homeroom teacher allowed us to keep our age a secret. I think partly because she didn't want to reveal her age, but mostly I think so we can be more comfortable around each other. And there doesn't have to be a hierarchy amongst us since we're all pre-K Japanese learners. By the way, everyone in my class is female, and all three of my teachers are also female. So I think us girls are a bit more sensitive about age, and so we were allowed to say "Watashi no nansai wa himitsu desu," which means my age is a secret. So in my beginner class, there were only 5 of us. The youngest of my classmates were 16 and 18 years old, and the oldest was in her 40s. So as you can see, the age range is very wide, but we all worked together and helped each other out. There was no age-related issues that ever came up. We had a lot of respect for each other, no matter the age. In my second quarter at Yamasa, 5 more people entered the class. Their ages were mostly in their early 30s. So a total of 10 people with the median age range of 30 to 31 years old. And of course, the younger folks in their teens and the older folks in their 40s or close to it. So you can see the age of the students are in a very wide spectrum. But we all got along and had a lot of fun in class. Age was not an issue. In terms of the entire school though, the median age is about 24 years old to 35 years old. Most students fell in between this 11-year range. And of course, there were students who lie in both ends of the spectrum. The teens and early 20s, and then the late 30s and early 40s. And of course, there were a sprinkle of more senior age folks. So as you can see, most students are actually not college-aged students. They are more in the range of working adults. The younger folks are there because they want to get into a Japanese college or university, while the older folks are there because they want to immigrate to Japan and start a new life, or they have already immigrated to Japan and want to integrate into Japanese society. And you can't really do that unless you know how to speak the language. When I was at Yamasa, there were a few people of a more senior age, and I'm going to guess that they are in their 60s. Oftentimes, you will see retired folks who have time, have money, and have an interest in Japan, so they decide to learn the language by, going to a Japanese language school in Japan. It's really not that odd. So if you're going to Yamasa, expect to see a few of the more mature students around. The thing you have to know about Yamasa is they have a wide range of programs and a very flexible teaching schedule because they cater to immigrants. There's an enclave of immigrants in Nagoya consisting mostly of Brazilians, Filipinos, Vietnamese, and Indonesians. So yes, you will see some young adults, but you will mostly see older working adults who are learning Japanese to integrate into Japanese society. Every once in a while, we had a person sit in on our class to see if they want to sign up for classes in Yamasa. Sometimes these people are immigrants who already live in Japan, and other times they come from different parts of the world, and they happen to be vacationing in Japan and decided to sit in on a class to see if they want to commit to a full-on program. Not only is the age range of the students very mixed, the ethnicities of the students are also very mixed. I think one of the coolest things about going to Yamasa is meeting students from all over the world. So my classmates were from the Philippines, Indonesia, Brazil, Switzerland, France, and Mexico. outside of my class, the people that I hung out with were from the United States, Israel, Taiwan, and the Netherlands. And I had acquaintances who were from Chile, Germany, and Canada. It truly is an international hub. Because of that, the students and teachers are very tolerant and accepting because they are very used to dealing with foreigners. In a way, language school can kind of serve as a safety bubble, especially if you don't know Japanese at all. Most of us students in the entire school knew each other, greeted each other, and spoke to each other, mainly using English. That seems to be the common language amongst us, but we try to throw in some Japanese whenever we can. Obviously, I can't communicate full out using Japanese, but we do make an effort to speak it as much as we can. I will tell you this though, the upperclassmen, the more advanced language learners, mostly kept to themselves. And that is because the more Japanese you know, the more you want to just speak in Japanese. They are very serious about immersing themselves into the language, and they really don't have any way to talk to people like me who barely know any Japanese if they don't default back into English. So by keeping to themselves, they pretty much create their own little Japanese bubble. And I absolutely encourage advanced Japanese learners to do the same thing. If my Japanese level wasn't so low, I would do the same thing too. Remember, you want to eat, sleep, poop, and think in Japanese when you are in Japan. Defaulting back into English doesn't really serve you. But if you are like me though, then do what you have to do to survive. I myself applied to Yamasa at the ripe old age of 36 and went to Japan when I was 37 years old. A few of my classmates have asked me if it wasn't a waste if it wasn't a waste of money to go to a Japanese language school at my age, since I left after only 2 quarters. And my response to that is an emphatic no. It was not a waste of money at all. For me, money is just a tool to help me do all the things I want to do in this life. And honestly, I don't really remember how much money I spent going to Yamasa. But what I do remember was the experience. Meeting every single person I met, doing all the cool things I did, having a community of people with the same goal as me and going through the same struggle as me. I felt a sense of camaraderie that I haven't felt in a very long time. And living in the apartment with all my schoolmates was just fun. All I had to do was line chat them and ask if they want to go out to eat, and I would have meal companions. It was like having family around. Experiencing life in Japan is absolutely priceless. I believe that some things in life you can't use money to value. And if you do use money to value an experience, I feel like you're selling it short. I mean, you can always make 15, 20 grand back, but it's not every day that you get to go on an adventure in Japan. I can guarantee you that when you're 80 years old, you're not going to remember how much money you spent going to a Japanese language school in Japan. What you will remember though is that you went to Japan, did a lot of cool things, met a lot of cool people, learned a new language, and experienced something unique and different than life back at home. Every time I look at the pictures I took of my time at Yamasa, I am filled with warmth and nostalgia. I can say this is one of the coolest things I have done in my life. I will never forget my time here, and I will never forget Japan's hospitality. So, if you want to go to a Japanese language school in Japan, and it doesn't have to be Yamasa, I say go for it, no matter what your age is. Make it happen. It could be an experience of a lifetime. I think in the future, I might make a video telling you guys why I decided to leave Yamasa after only 2 quarters. The problem was solely me, not Yamasa. So don't think I'm being a hypocrite for raving about Yamasa on one hand and then on the other hand, leaving after only 2 quarters. Anyways, if you have any questions, comment below. And if you got any value from this video, please give me a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. Mata ne.